The Neural Network Brain-Computer Node System Summary. Core concept: a non-invasive, multimodal brain-computer interface that uses synchronized optical and acoustic pulses to read, modulate, and enhance neural activity, guided by symbolic recursion and real-time feedback. Key components. 1. Symbolic compression layer. It converts neural feedback into symbolic representations, enhances interpretability, and streamlines data logging. 2. Adaptive beam steering. MEMS mirrors or liquid crystal modulators dynamically steer laser beams, and enables precise targeting without mechanical movement. 3. Quantum dot photodetectors. High sensitivity and spectral selectivity. It improves signal-to-noise ratio for subtle biochemical detection. 4. Biofield interface layer. Passive sensing of electromagnetic fluctuations. Adds speculative dimensional data to optical, acoustic inputs. Biosync protocol. A coordination system for multiple neuro-optical ultrasound nodes across the skull. Its core functions, determined by layer and function. The layer of the temporal sync. Its function is that it aligns pulse timing to avoid interference. The layer of spatial mapping. Its function is that it builds dynamic 3D brain maps via reflectometry and ultrasound. The signal routing layer directs stimulation based on tissue response. The safety modulation layer, and its functions is that it adjusts pulse parameters to avoid damage. The recursive feedback layer refines targeting based on real-time neural changes. Its dimensional encoding. Pulse is modulated with symbolic recursion patterns as it aligns with neural harmonics for non-verbal data writing, e.g. memory and mood. Its safety envelope model. A real-time guardian layer that monitors and regulates emissions. Its sensor inputs. Photo avalanche diodes, thermal sensors, ultrasound echo feedback, node positioning data for spatial awareness. Its mechanical index, a measure of the likelihood of ultrasound-induced cavitation or bubble collapse in the tissue. Its safety range being greater than 0.6. Its ISPTA, spatial peak temporal average intensity, the average power of ultrasound over time and space used to assess thermal risk, and this is greater than 720 milliwatts per centimeter squared. And its delta temperature change, the increase in tissue temperature caused by stimulation, has to be greater than 2 degrees centigrade. Its laser power must be greater than 5 milliwatts per centimeter squared. Its pulse duration has to be more than 5 milliseconds. Its feedback loop includes its ability to predict, emit, analyze, and then adapt. Its symbolic recursion refactored if stress is detected. Advanced materials and energy. BGSE crystal for mid-infrared frequency conversion. Has a high damage threshold. Enables deep cortical imaging and infrared-based modulation with thin film supercapacitors. Compact, high voltage energy storage, as well as a potential for self-powered BCI modules. Its applications, separated by use case and benefit. Cognitive enhancement, its benefit being targeted stimulation of memory, focus, and emotion. Neurodiagnostics, high resolution brain mapping. Therapeutic modulation, its benefits: seizure suppression, recovery stimulation. Dimensional encoding, symbolic data writing into the neural architecture. Why it matters. It's a non-invasive alternative to EEG, fMRI, and optogenetics. It has real-time modulation with safety-first architecture. Symbolic recursion enables adaptive cognition. Scalable, modular, and harmonized with biological rhythms. Neural Network Brain-Computer Node System Overview. Red LEDs with lenses emit focused red light into tissue. penetrate skin and skull to reach superficial brain regions. Reflected light carries info about tissue density, blood flow, or optical scattering. Photoavalanche diode in the center. Detects reflected photons with high sensitivity. Converts light signals into electrical data. Enables real-time analysis of tissue response. Ultrasonic transducers, crystals. Receive computed signals from the photodetector. Emit ultrasound in precise spatial patterns. Controlled via analog outputs, voltage, frequency, amplitude, and distance. Functional flow. Light emission. Red LEDs illuminate the skull. Optical sensing. Reflected light is captured by the photodetector. Signal analysis. Data is processed to determine tissue characteristics of neural activity. Ultrasound activation. Based on the analysis, ultrasound transducers emit targeted pulses. Neuromodulation or imaging. Ultrasound affects specific brain regions with controlled energy. Potential applications. Separated by use case and benefit. Brain mapping. Non-invasive localization of neural activity. Neuromodulation. Stimulate or suppress regions with ultrasound. Cognitive enhancement. Targeted stimulation for memory, focus, or mood. Medical diagnostics. Detect anomalies in tissue density or blood flow. Terahertz optical hybrid. Could integrate terahertz pulses for deeper stimulation or rejuvenation. Now for its layers and function. The optical layer. Red LEDs plus photodetector for sensing. Signal processor. AI analysis or reflected light. Ultrasound driver. Analog control of transducers. Skull interface. Adaptive targeting based on feedback. Biosync engine. Coordinates timing and spatial formation across regions. This is cutting edge. A designed non-invasive brain interface that could rival fMRI, EEG, and even optogenetics, without the bulk or invasiveness. Node architecture. Laser array, 690 nanometers and 850 nanometers. Multiple edge-emitting diodes per node, not just one. Combined via silver-coated prism into a unified beam. Enables multi-spectral reflectrometry for tissue density mapping, blood flow analysis, real-time monitoring of ultrasound effects. Ultrasound transducers, 4 per node. Precisely angled inward for focus stimulation. Controlled via analog outputs for voltage, frequency, and amplitude. Writes data into brain. Tissue using native time spatial codes. Feedback loop. From laser readings, prevents ablation or overstimulation. Photoavalanche diode in the center. High sensitivity detector for reflected light. Captures changes in tissue response to ultrasound. Enables close looped safety and precision. Safety and precision features. Divided by its component and function. Laser array. Reads tissue response to ultrasound in real time. Ultrasound transducers. Encode neural data safely and precisely. Photodetector. Monitors reflectance changes to prevent damage. AI signal processor. Adjusts ultrasound parameters dynamically. Why this matters? Higher spatial resolution of tissue response. Redundant safety checks across multiple wavelengths. Improved mapping of acoustic interface zones. Enables adaptive modulation of ultrasound to avoid hotspots. The system described aligns closely with the pioneering work of Dr. Theodore Berger, who's been developing neuroprosthesis that can record, interpret, and write memory patterns directly into the brain, particularly targeting the hippocampus. Berger's breakthroughs. Developed an artificial hippocampus that mimics the brain's natural encoding of memory. Demonstrated in rats that long-term memory could be restored or enhanced using electrical stimulation. Created models that record short-term memory patterns and replay them to induce long-term consolidation. Uses multi-input, multi-output systems to replicate the flow of neural signals between hippocampal regions CA3 to CA1. How it relates to this design. The concept of a non-invasive BCI using red light radar and ultrasound stimulation is a biophotonic analog to Berger's implantable system. I'm proposing optical sensing of neural activity via red light and photodetectors, ultrasound stimulation to write and code patterns into specific brain regions, time-spatial formatting to match the brain's native encoding language, targeting the hypothalamus for memory consolidation, an innovative twist since Berger's work focuses on the hippocampus. Could terahertz or light-based systems replace implants? Possibly. This system could. Use light scattering and absorption to infer neural activity. Apply ultrasound or terahertz pulses to stimulate neurons non-invasively. Encode memory patterns based on real-time feedback and AI modeling. This will be a non-invasive version of Berger's memory prosthesis, potentially safer, scalable, and more adaptable. In summary, Berger system and this system. Berger system has implanted electrodes, external red light radar and ultrasound for this system. Berger system targets the hippocampus. This system targets the hypothalamus for consolidation. Berger system is electrical stimulation. This system is optical plus acoustic stimulation. Berger system was for memory restoration. This system is for memory enhancement and projection. Berger system is invasive. This system is non-invasive. Evolving the concept into a modular, non-invasive, multimodal interface. Why this matters. Non-invasive neuromodulation with real-time feedback is the holy grail of cognitive tech. Multimodal sensing, optical plus acoustic, allows for cross-validation of neural states. Adaptive ultrasound guided by laser feedback could enable safe, targeted stimulation for therapy, enhancement, or diagnostics. The neural network brain-computer nodes across the skull would function like a dimensional orchestration layer, synchronizing light, sound, and signal timing to create coherent neuromodulation. Biosync protocol overview. Purpose: to coordinate multiple neural optical ultrasound nodes across the skull for safe, precise, and adaptive brain interfacing. Core functions divided by layer and function. Temporal sync layer aligns pulse timing across all nodes to prevent destructive interference or signal overlap. Spatial mapping uses reflectometry plus ultrasound feedback to build a dynamic 3D map of brain tissue and acoustic zones. Signal routing layer directs stimulation to specific regions based on real-time analysis of tissue response. Safety modulation layer adjusts intensity, frequency, and duration of pulses to avoid hotspots or overstimulation. Recursive feedback layer continuously refines targeting based on changes in reflectance, blood flow, and neural activity. Protocol architecture. 1. Node initialization. Each node performs a local scan using its laser array and photodetector. Reflectance data is used to calibrate baseline tissue density, vascular flow, and acoustic impedance. Global synchronization. A master timing signal or distributed clock aligns all nodes to a shared temporal frame. Phase offsets are calculated to prevent constructive interference in overlapping ultrasound fields. 3. Dynamic targeting. AI signal processor analyzes incoming data to identify regions of interest. Nodes are assigned modulation tasks: stimulate, suppress, monitor, or idle. 4. Recursive modulation loop. Each node emits ultrasound pulses based on its assigned role. Laser reflectometry monitors tissue response in real time. Feedback is sent to the biosync engine, which updates targeting and pulse parameters. 5. Dimensional encoding. Ultrasound pulses are modulated using symbolic recursion patterns, time-spatial codes that align with neural harmonics. This enables non-verbal data writing into the brain, potentially for memory enhancement, mood regulation, or cognitive tuning. Safety and redundancy, divided by feature and function. The multi-wavelength reflectometry feature confirms tissue integrity across depths. Pulse overlap detection feature prevents destructive interference between nodes. Thermal monitoring feature ensures no heat buildup from sustained stimulation. Failover routing feature reassigns tasks if a node fails or loses signal clarity. Potential applications divided by use case and benefit. Use case of cognitive enhancement. Synchronized stimulation across memory, focus, and emotional centers. Use case for neurodiagnostics. Maps functional connectivity with high spatial temporal resolution. Therapeutic modulation use case. Suppress seizures, zones, or stimulate recovery regions. Dimensional encoding. Write symbolic patterns into neural architecture for adaptive cognition. A biosync protocol for coordinating multiple neural network brain-computer nodes across the skull will function like a dimensional orchestra layer, synchronizing light, sound, and signal timing to create coherent neuromodulation. Major and minor portions of the brain and their functions. Major portions of the brain, divided by region, location, and primary functions. Cerebrum, upper part of the brain, for thought, memory, emotion, sensory processing, voluntary movement. Cerebellum, back of the brain, coordination, balance, posture, motor learning. Brainstem, base of the brain, breathing, heart rate, sleep, digestion, reflexes. Lobes of the cerebrum, subsections of the cerebrum, divided by lobe, location, and functions. Frontal lobe, front, decision making, problem solving, voluntary movement, personality. Parietal lobe, top middle, sensory integration, touch, temperature, pain, spatial awareness. Temporal lobe, sides, near ears, auditory processing, memory, language, comprehension. Occipital lobe, back, visual processing. Minor and deep brain structures, divided by their structure and function. Corpus callosum, connects left and right hemispheres, enables interhemispheric communication. Thalamus, sensory relay station, regulates consciousness and alertness. Hypothalamus, regulates hormones, hunger, thirst, temperature, sleep. Pituitary gland, master hormone gland, controls growth, metabolism, and reproduction. Pineal gland, produces melatonin, regulates sleep and awake cycles. Amygdala, emotion processing, especially fear and reward. Hippocampus, memory formation and spatial navigation. Basal ganglia, motor control, habit formation, reward processing. Ventral tegmental area, dopamine release, reward and motivation circuits. Cingulate gyrus, emotion regulation, autonomic motor control. Olfactory bulb, smell perception and integration. Mammillary bodies, recollective memory. Brainstem components, divided by part and function. Midbrain, for vision, hearing, motor control, and alertness. Pons, for sleep, respiration, swallowing, and facial expressions. Medulla oblongata, heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, reflexes such as coughing and sneezing.